Well, Pacelli and Boomer, they're grizzled and gray, talking about Star Wars from back in the day. Got a talk show called Geeky Geezers, it's true, spinning old tales about the stuff that went through. From Atari to Shrek, they know every line. Geeky Geezers, man, they're feeling just fine. Pacelli's got a lightsaber, swings it with pride. Boomer's got a game but plays it deep in the night. They're ranting about He-Man and old X-Men too. On Geeky Geezers, they're the nerdiest crew, talking Transformers, toys that twist and they turn, singing blues for the geek life, their hearts still burn. Oh, Geeky Geezers, they're living the dream, talking comics and movies, they're busting the scenes. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. Geeky Geezers with hearts made of gold. They're sitting in the studio, mics turned up loud, reminiscing about Super Friends, feeling so proud. Pacelli loves Spider-Man, Boomer's for Hulk. They argue about Star Trek with passion and both. From Betamax tapes to their old D20s, Geeky Geezers where the nostalgia flows. They got fans in the chat, from the young to the old, tuning in to hear stories that never get told. Talking Ghostbusters, proton packs, toys in the box, and Saturday mornings with cartoons that rocks. Pacelli and Boomer, they're keeping it real. Geeky Geezers with that old school feel. Oh, Geeky Geezers, they're living the dream, talking comics and movies, they're busting the scenes. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. Geeky Geezers with hearts made of gold. They're singing the blues for the games that they play, for the VHS tapes and the arcades that pray. But the spirits are young, though their hair's turning white. Geeky Geezers keep the nerd fire alight, so tune in each week to the Geeky Geezers show, where Pacelli and Boomer let the good times flow. From X-Files to X-Men, they're dropping the news, singing praises of geek life with them old blues. Pacelli and Boomer, forever they'll be. Geeky Geezers living wild and free.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Geeky Geezers. I'm your host, Aged Boomer. This is my co-host, Pacelli.
You don't know this, but I was late. But I am here now.
You didn't have to say anything; they wouldn't have been in the know.
I didn't have to, but I wanted to be as above board as possible, because I count on everyone knowing the integrity level of this channel.
Yes, well, we do have integrity. And speaking of integrity, we have Netter of Netter's Network, also known as
she is the height of integrity of this channel.
Good evening, everyone.
And welcome. And I did want to thank Troy here had said we got to get Boomer to 500 subscribers at the end of the month. And I am well over 500 subscribers. So I would like to thank everyone, including Troy Netter here, for helping to promote my channel, and all of you in the chat. I did get over that 500 mark, so thank you.
So now, everybody, what you need to do is, if you're and look, I know you guys are great supporters of all of our channels, but Netter and I are already monetized, right? And watch hours doesn't mean that much these days once you're monetized, because the pennies we get from YouTube are so little. My encouragement to you is, if you're watching us right now on Netter's channel or on my channel, jump on over to Aged Boomers. It's the same show, just you'd be giving him the watch hours, okay? We got to get his watch hours up so that he can apply for monetization.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Well, thank you.
Yes, like I should. You don't just have 500, you have 529.
I know.
Dang, you guys blew it out.
Thank you
I
so
said
much.
I was sharing on X. So I'm sure, people were just like, hey, let me check this out. And we're subbing. So it's like, because it doesn't cost them anything.
And this is why I say, guys, don't underestimate how much impact you can have. You're already subscribed. That's fine. Share and ask your friends to share, because you have a much greater reach than you realize that you do.
Yeah. I mean, look what happened with just me sharing on X, Troy sharing on X. Anyone here that shared on other social medias and X,
And so what I want to do real quick is, point out, Lynn Green said like 1, like 2.
Oh, thank you so much.
Like 3, which means she went to each one of our channels to hit the like button. But Lynn, then I would ask you to stay then on on Boomer's channel and give him those watch hours. Okay?
Well, I appreciate it. And like I said, the more subscribers I get, the more those watch hours will tick up. And I did really just want to thank everybody for just doing what you could. And we made our quota that we had to see. Troy met his I don't want to say
Goal.
promise because I think that's unfair, but like
my goal, my plan,
goal,
my
yes.
intention. Yeah,
There you go.
Exactly. And I think we absolutely did. I wanted to celebrate that a little bit more this past weekend, and especially on Friday. But I'm just going to address this real quick, and we'll move on. I had some serious health concerns the end of this past week, and so that's why I missed Big Al Presents last night, and I'm really sorry about that. I love that movie. And I miss hanging out with Big Al as much as possible. But I was not, and I hope it didn't come through too much in the karaoke party on Friday, but I was very distracted by discomfort, was not able to even take in full breaths, so I couldn't hold long notes.
I had no idea, to be honest.
I was very dissatisfied with my performance as a result. And that's why, then I reached back to Boomer and said, Boomer, you got to get the notes together for this week, because
no problem.
And then I was in the hospital all day yesterday. Look, sorry, I've already said more than I wanted to.
Okay, yeah.
I will tell you guys all about it tomorrow. It'll be my Monday musing for tomorrow.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better today,
Yep.
and we'll still keep you in our thoughts and prayers. All right,
Thanks so much. I appreciate
no
it.
after effect of that, but anyway, but again, we're all here now, and we'll have a good time tonight, right? Until we get
absolutely even with the negative news, we can at least get our we can vent our frustrations.
Well, at this point, I think some of this negative news, in some ways, what we do here is it's almost like we're looking out for. I don't like this word consumer. I prefer the word customer, but
yeah,
like looking out and saying, if these companies are up to shenanigans, I like to I don't know, I like to let them know. But
yeah, absolutely. And I think that sometimes, and I say this even when I bring up what seem like very negative articles on a Thursday during my Thankful Things, I point out, even though it looks like I'm talking about something negative, when you see things turning around, things happening the way they should, these negative things we've been upset about, these companies reaping what they've sown and maybe potentially turning around, that's a good thing. That is something to be thankful for. So,
unfortunately, with some of the stories tonight, it's going to take us a couple years before we even know if they'll reap what they sow.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like the Titanic, a big ship with a small pin. So you're absolutely right.
I did want to say hi to Big Al. Hello, my geeky friends, and hello, chat. Hope everyone is having a great weekend. Well, we hope you are having one as well, Big Al. And thank you for chiming in. And thank you, Jamie Lynn, for popping in. Welcome. Deleted Scenes. You had a rather fiery unscripted tonight, which I thought was interesting. He was talking about a certain doctor who has been in the news lately.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have plenty to say on that matter.
Yeah. I won't bring that up here because it's not on our to-do list.
Not on our docket.
Yeah.
We got enough other things to complain about tonight. Connie Cleary, welcome. Let's see here, though. The Skeptic Tank, welcome. Oh, thank you so much for the congratulations, Skeptic Tank, on the 500 plus subs. Thank you. And it's always good to point out a hi, sweetie, from Netter here, even though I just introduced her. And let's see, Optic Love, welcome. You see here.
That's a new name. I don't think I've heard that one before.
Maybe it's one of my new subscribers. Let's see.
Maybe.
All right. Geek Flag with Nate Knows, welcome. Boomer. Okay. Yes, welcome. And let's see here. And Deleted Scenes. You didn't miss much, Troy. AI was great as always. I kept scrambling things. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Al was great, not AI. My mistake. I was about to say, who's AI?
I'm with you. No. I do that all the time. And Al laughs every single time I do that.
Yes. So, let's get into the presentation. We got a lot to cover
Well,
tonight.
I'm literally just uploading it right now. So
Oh, that's
give
all
it
right. Take your
about
time.
give it
Give it a
about
minute or two.
10, 15 seconds.
Well, it's funny because tonight's Good Old Days was based on one of the stories tonight, because I figured even though I'm angry at the story, I'm not angry at the actual device. There's nothing wrong
No,
with that device. And yes,
And what I also want to point out is it really does tie into our topic for Friday, which is what's it called? Physical media, right? So give me just a second. Let me just
that's right. Take your
orient
time,
this
dude.
correctly. Let me just
Take your
orient
time.
this correctly.
Do what you got to do. But not much else. We're not reporting on the Spider-Man box office, which apparently was huge. So I will.
Well, I'll probably bring it up again in
Liquid lunch.
during
Yeah.
during a liquid lunch this week, because we'll have better numbers by then. But
Mhm.
it's looking like $1 billion weekend. Opening
Huge.
week, $1 billion. Guys, do you understand how big that is? That is amazing.
So
It's already garnered more money, more revenue, I should say, than Superman, James Gunn's Superman, starring James Gunn, written by James Gunn, directed by James Gunn, and Supergirl combined, which I guess isn't that big a hurdle, but it's also already putting the Odyssey out of highest revenue for the year.
doing very well, and it makes you wonder if they can keep using the whole pandemic excuse, because the Spider-Man movies have done well. The
Yes.
last one did well when that came out, and this one has done well too. But here we have. Oh, I lost it. Sorry. Is it
I'm
there?
sorry, what happened? What did I do? It's
Oh,
there.
you didn't do anything. I think. Okay, there we go. All right. Let's move forward.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was just me transitioning for you.
It's all right. Well,
This is a Fisher Price model. That is interesting.
you had one of these, right?
Not this model. I did
Oh.
have a child one. God, I can't even remember what kind it was that I had. But it was like this. It was like this Fisher Price one that was clearly, and it had the closing lid and everything to protect it and whatnot.
So do you want to tell the kids in the chat what this thing is?
Okay, for those of you that are just really, really young, and this is a little bit before your time, this was a record player. And it had, now let me ask you this, Boomer, what I'm about to say. It had 3 speeds. It had 3 3/4, it had 45, and it had 76, I think, or something like
Yeah.
that. And that was RPMs.
78.
78, thank you. Do you remember ever playing any records other than to just play it and make it sound funny using the 78
Albums.
RPMs?
I want to say I did, because my dad had old small records from the 1950s,
Uh-huh.
and they were like goofy records, but he had them, and I think I had to change the speed to get them to play.
So
properly.
am I
Yes.
right? I think now that you've said that, I kind of remember my great uncle Ralph, who's somebody I may have to dedicate a whole stream to. You guys would be so interested in this guy. He had, from his youth, these records. They were somewhere between the size of a 45 and an LP. And it was like an LP in that it had multiple songs on it, but it was just a few. But the way that it was able to accommodate the extra songs was it went like slower, so you had to play it at that. And it was, you know what it was like? It was kind of like on VHS where you had the EP, LP, and SP.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this was. It was, you had a higher fidelity if it played faster, right? You had a lower fidelity if it played slower, but you could get more on the disc. That's what this was. Now, those older ones were, I don't know what they were, if they were like ceramic, but they broke easily. Anybody who remembers the movie It's a Wonderful Life, right? And Donna Reed is playing Buffalo Gals. when George Bailey comes
I remember
over
that
and
Buffalo Girl.
she's
Gals
upset because he's in a bad mood and he's not understanding she's coming on to him because he's somewhere else. And he walks out after they have a bit of an argument. She takes the record, she throws the stylus off, she takes it out and smashes it. That is not something you could do with the vinyl records that we grew up with. I mean, I guess you could if you hit it on a corner, but then you just have it snap in half. It wouldn't shatter the way that did. These older ones did, but I think that happened very often. You just drop it and it would break like a plate.
Yeah, I think my mom had some Elvis songs on one of those. Yeah, and and they were they this is what they played. But you're right, they could shatter if you're not careful. And that is so that would be so crushing. You lose a whole album you love because you dropped it, and I'm sure that's why they moved to vinyl.
Oh, what's worse is when you put them on the radiator and forget, and the heat comes on and melts them.
That would happen with vinyl too. So I mean, and they'd warp, and they're never gonna. Even if you flatten them out, they'd never be right again. 78s were made from shellac, a natural resin, and later from vinyl. Okay, that makes sense. Resin, guys. You know what? They have artificial resin these days, and it is like a plastic. It comes in all different varieties. It can be flexible. It can be like plastic. It can be hard like glass. And these ones were hard like glass. And there was kind of no fixing them. But they were made of... Oh, go ahead.
They were made of what? Sorry.
Whatever they were made of, whether it was resin, whether it was vinyl, whatever it was, the way it worked was you'd have a needle that would, it worked in both ways. You'd record to it with a needle on it going around in a circle, concentrically, and it would vibrate, and it would put that vibration into the softened vinyl or the softened whatever it was. And then when it cooled and hardened, it was there to be played back using a different stylus connected to an amplifier and speaker.
Did you know originally albums were made using wax?
Yes, they weren't actually discs; they were cylinders.
Yes.
So think of like a tin can. So they would work very similarly, and you'd put them on this device, and the stylus would sit above it, and it would play, and it would go from the top down to the bottom, and then it was done. So if you ever see an old movie where someone like fell asleep or was murdered while listening to a record, it gets to the end of the record and it would just keep popping at that last click, 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 click at the very end because it had nowhere else to go. You'd have to physically take it off the 12-inch records, LP speed, 33 1/3 RPMs. That's rotations per minute. Common name, LP long play or album capacity was about 22 minutes per side, 7 inches. Yes, exactly right.
And
you could look...
Like a lot of these... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say a lot of the rock albums, they would come and you would play each side to get the full album. Yeah.
Right. And so here was an interesting feature. Just like with a CD, right? You put in a CD, which is digital, and you want track 3, you could just jump to track 3, right? You couldn't do that with cassettes. There was no way. You'd have to fast forward, listen to the song, fast forward a little bit more, fast forward, I went too far, rewind, okay? This was more like the CDs because you could look and there was a clear visual distinction by these lines in the grooves where you could count the third track, and then you put the needle down at the third track and then be able to play just that song if that's what you wanted to do. So
it was so easy to scratch these records.
That was the other thing I was going to get to. So the upside to the resin ones, I thought they were glass, but thanks for correcting me that they were resin. The resin did have a higher fidelity and would resist wear better than the later vinyl ones did. However, they would still wear. The needle would wear over time. And of course, vinyl absolutely did. So even the brand new fresh out of the sleeve vinyl record had that pop, click,
Oh, yeah.
hiss
Yep.
to it. Now later, a guy by the name of what? Thomas Dolby, right?
Yeah.
Who blinded us with science, developed something called noise reduction. It was a digital way of taking an analog sound, taking out some of that pop and hiss, and cleaning it up. So you would have some of the most recent, late 80s record players. You would have a little button, noise reduction. It would take out some of that pop hiss. But that pop hiss would increase over time as those grooves got more and more and
Yep.
more worn. I listened to some of my great Uncle Ralph's vinyl Dean Martin records and Frank Sinatra records and stuff, and they are rough. There's a lot of noise in there, so to speak. I did not know that one, Nate. That's interesting. But
No.
he was a sound guy. He really was. Well, I mean, he still is. It's not like he's passed or anything.
Now, do you see this? The Fisher-Price record player could close up like a suitcase.
Yep. Which was invaluable when you were a kid
Yep.
and you were carrying it around and stowing it.
Yeah, I
Yep.
had one of those.
This specific,
Let me look at the picture again.
I have to look because I don't know what model mine was.
Oh.
I had that record. I had that record.
I'm bringing this up to come up with some of the records I would
And I'm
play on
not
this
sure
thing.
if I had it. I think I had it before my brother was born. But I did have that record. And I'm sure my brother enjoyed it as much or more than I did.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie Lynn. I'm bringing up, too, these are the things I would play on this, too. I wanted to bring up that, remember the Star Wars read-along storybook that came with the record? I don't know if you had this or not, if you were too old
I
for this.
absolutely, I had all three of them.
Oh, yeah.
I had all three of them, Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi. But here's the and you know what I also had? I also had Wonder Records had put out Spider-Man, Fantastic, actually a bunch of Marvel. I think they had some DC, but I didn't have any of those. There was a bunch of fairy tale. I think they were put out by Fisher-Price. Disney and what's it called? Other fairy tales and whatnot. And I would memorize those damn things. Just so, and it was read along books. You'd read the page as the narrator on the thing, and there was a chime that you would tell you to turn. Like with Star Wars, it was you'll know it's time to turn the page when R2-D2 beeps like this. Diddly diddly woo woo.
I remember.
And you turn the page, and they had for the Disney ones, you'll know it's time to turn the page when Tinkerbell rings her little bells like this. Chime.
I remember that, yeah. And it's funny me thinking about it at the time, but this was probably my introduction to physical media. These records.
Yeah, you're probably absolutely right. And I'll tell you something else. If you can get a hold of these record books and you don't have a record player, most of these records are reproduced on YouTube.
Yeah,
you can listen along on YouTube and thumb through the books if you so choose.
Yeah, this is the Star Wars. I had a Scooby-Doo record. I had a Haunted Mansion record, but that was on a full-size vinyl. I forgot to put that in here.
Oh, nice.
But this was The Hobbit. Now, I didn't own this, but I remember our local public library had it, and I would check it out every so often. And it was an audio version of The Hobbit. The Rankin Bass version. And
it basically took the audio of the Rankin Bass.
Yeah.
And didn't it add narration in some places in order to fill in? Because it wasn't visual. You couldn't see what was going on.
And was it John Huston? Was he doing the narration? It was someone from the actual cartoon doing the narration. I don't think they got a different actor. I think they got...
I don't remember, but then I'd not be surprised.
Yeah, and it was a very cool record because you could open it up and see all the drawings of Lonely Mountain and everything else in there. I do like that cover. That's the goblins. And poor Bilbo trying to explain. Disney were epic as a kid. Yeah, I'm trying to remember my record of our vinyl. On one side, it was an audio version of the old Donald Duck cartoon Trick or Treat, when I guess the witch is after Donald in that old cartoon, and the other side was the Haunted Mansion story. Going into the story. But Yeah, where Gollum looked like an evil frog. I swear I always thought it was Burgess Meredith doing his voice, and then I found out it wasn't. Now, of course, my dad would have something a little more sophisticated.
Yeah.
Something more along the lines of this, with the silver trim and the buttons. And these buttons could actually, you could have the needle go to a certain spot on the record rather than you lifting it yourself, which was always
Yes.
ill-advised. Never lift it while the record's playing. You will scratch that record. Yes. Right?
Yeah, and that might be a little bit overly cautious, but it's not. Yeah, the less that you could do manually, probably the best.
So that Sesame Street record, do you remember what was on it? Was it all Sesame Street disco songs? Is that what it was?
It was all like parodies of the Saturday Night Fever album. Yeah.
I love Grover on that album. But of course, some people would have a setup like this with usually the vinyl record player on top. You'd have your tape deck,
Yeah.
perhaps even a CD player if you were really advanced, right? And then you have your speakers.
That's
over
what
top.
I got in the
Yeah.
that's what I got in the later '80s. I think we did a stream where I talked about the history of how that came to be.
Yeah, very cool. And of course, you go out and buy your big size vinyl record if you were in the '80s, and this was bad. Michael Jackson's Bad. And there would be stuff on the inside, like you'd get extra stuff when you would buy the vinyl record, stuff that kind of got lost in the translation of CDs, I think, right?
I agree. And the artwork, even with CDs, they tried to maintain the visual aesthetics. Basically, the dimensions of the cases for CDs were the same, aspect ratio, but they'd have to shrink everything down. So you couldn't see, you got almost like poster-like quality of visuals on these,
Oh,
on
yeah.
the front and back. These would oftentimes, they'd be, if it was two albums, it would open up, it would be like gatefold in the middle. I remember the Olivia Newton-John's Physical album. She was kind of like this, where you saw her in a reclined position, but you only saw her from the waist up. But then you open it up and you saw her, full length, which was Olivia
Nice.
Newton-John Physical. It was very, very nice. That's Purple Rain.
Did this actually come on a purple vinyl? That's what I'm
Yes,
seeing
it
here,
did.
right? Okay, that's
Yes,
impressive.
it
This is
did.
Prince's Purple Rain.
That was, good stuff. They did the same thing with his Love Sexy album, where you'd have a half picture of him on the front, and then you'd open it up as a full picture of him on the inside, if you're into that.
Yes.
I had this one, the Hobbit one.
Yep.
Oh, you did have this one, Netter. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. The complete soundtrack LP and audio released if you listen to the full-length vinyl box set or cassette equivalent containing the dialogue, music, and story straight from the film primarily. Narration was delivered by legendary Hollywood actor and director John Huston, who
John
is
Huston, you were right then.
still a great Gandalf, and not taking anything away from Ian McKellen also, but I did
Right.
always like John Huston's Gandalf.
But you also got, sometimes they had little, you'd have to buy the album to get whatever add-on they had. I believe there was one rock album that came out with a pair of panties or something like that.
Oh, that's
inside
funny.
the
Oh yeah,
album
yeah.
sleeve.
Schools Out had a pair of panties on that was on the album outside,
Yeah.
and it is extraordinarily rare
I
if
would
you
imagine.
can actually find an album that still has the panties.
That's incredible. I didn't realize they did that. See, I remember, and someone told me a story about this, and I couldn't find it online. But you remember the movie Return of the Living Dead, right?
Sure.
And it had like a heavy metal soundtrack. Well,
Yep.
this guy said he had a friend that went out and bought it, and apparently when you bought it, the vinyl record apparently had a visage of Leanna Quigley and her bare boobs, basically on the front of the.
Oh, that's kind of awesome.
And
That's kind of awesome.
I don't know, because I just heard this at work one time, and I wondered, was this a limited edition? I couldn't find any evidence online, so I just don't know.
We'll ask Greg on Friday, because he's the guy who would probably know or be
Know
able
about.
to find out for us. The other thing I was going to say is inside those gatefolds, oftentimes there would be promotional posters
Right.
that supported the artist or the album or whatever. So,
And lyric sheets, right?
well, yes, so many, especially Prince's albums. Interestingly, Prince's lyrics were all written in that Prince shorthand, which modern internet people know as using emojis. You know, he used emojis like a picture of an eye for I, you know, and the letter U for you, and things like that. But this was the go-to because we always talk about how you would misunderstand lyrics. So if you had the album, you can look and see, oh, that's what they're singing. This was true with Pink Floyd's The Wall. You know, the entire album is written out lyrically on, they'd call those the liner notes.
Exactly. Now, I have a question, though. There was always these things going around during the whole, I guess, satanic panic, as they would call about. You play your heavy metal album backwards, and there would be, like, satanic messaging. I never knew anyone who had a vinyl record player that you could play the record backwards.
No. Some of them, there were different features on some of the.
So there might have been some that did have this feature.
No,
Okay.
they didn't have it built in to reverse it. But some of them had much more range of motion. So what you could do, and this was not good for either the album or the stylus, but you could put the stylus on the opposite side, and then, well, I actually, am I right about that? Is that how you would do it? The other way was you had your 3 speeds, or there was a neutral speed where you could turn it yourself using your finger. So you could go, it was like neutral in your car.
So that's how they
do
did
it backwards.
Okay.
So what was rough is you can't get exactly 33 and a third or exactly 45 RPMs. You do your best, but it would sound a lot like this when you would play it. And so when you're playing backwards, you know, it's even worse. The way that a lot of sound engineers would do it is they would go into the motor that turned the record table, and they would take the O-ring, you know, that you know went from the driver to the thing, and do a figure 8 with it, so that it would literally play it backwards. So that's how you did it. But honestly, I've done a deep there, and if you want to look into that, there's a lot of YouTube videos that talk about, you know, backmasking is what it's called.
I see.
And this idea that there was secret hidden messages. Scientifically, it makes 0 sense, because you can't have it make sense both forward and backward. It doesn't work. Backmasking was, when it did exist, it was always very obvious. There's an example of backmasking right here on this album, on the Purple Rain album. At the end of, I don't remember which track it is. I think it's the last track on the album. No, maybe it's not. I can't remember. But there's definitely something very eerie sounding, and then you could tell by the sound of what's being chanted that it's like backmasked. You have to play it backwards. And of course, being the goof that I was, I went to the effort of listening to it backwards. And you'd be shocked by what it was.
Oh.
Hello, how are you? I'm fine, because the Lord is coming soon. That's what Prince backmasked on his album.
Very cool.
Can you believe that?
Well, you know what? Yeah. He probably wanted to do I think he probably wanted to do the opposite of what they always said the messages were supposed to be, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There weren't any real backmask examples when the whole Satanic Panic started. And then after that did start, some heavy metal and rock bands started doing it just because, well, fine, you know, let's go ahead and try it, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. We got...
welcome, Clue Studio.
Thank you, Clue Studio. If you play Troy Pacelli's first album backwards, it's a chant for puppies and kittens to take the White House. Well, you know, my first album came out during the Clinton administration, so you decide how real that was. But yeah, I'd probably do that again today. So
Now I'm thinking of Socks the Cat.
and thank you very much. That's very generous of you, Clue. I super appreciate that.
But yeah, thank you. And I did want to bring up, Nate brought up the Star Wars record. My dad had that when I was a kid. The original soundtrack double album for Star Wars. You got 2 record vinyls with that. And I used to listen to that. I remember one of the sides would start with Princess Leia's theme, and I always thought that was an interesting way to start one of the sides. And to be now, my dad lost his a while ago. I did buy him the CD equivalent. I got him the CDs when the special editions came out. They re-released them all in special CDs, so I picked those up for him, and to replace it with. But actually,
so 2 quick things. Lynn Green says, puppies and kittens living together? Yes! Mass hysteria! And Tim, welcome Tim, says, I believe it's saying, Paul is dead, man, miss him. Yeah, so guys, if anyone can find, oh God, what is that channel? With Simon Whistler. He just recently did one about backmasking. And he mentions that one, and he mentions a bunch of them. If anyone can find that video and post it here, I would greatly appreciate it. Because that's, although I could just check my history, I guess.
Yeah. That was the big urban legend around that one Beatles album. Yes.
There was a joke in The Simpsons where Paul McCartney actually guessed it as himself. And he was trying to encourage Lisa on her... I think she wanted to be a vegetarian or something like that. And he says something about how on one of his Wings albums, he backmasked a great recipe for gazpacho.
Funny.
Let me see if I can.
We all like gazpacho, right?
I actually really do, yes.
All right. And I guess we could go all night talking about records, but I did want to bring it up because records are so popular today.
And I'm sure we'll get back into it on Friday,
Because apparently that's one of the few physical media things you can still buy at a Best Buy, but they got rid of all the CDs, and this is the times we're living in. And the DVDs at Best Buy. They got rid of both. Yeah, I got to talk to you about how we're going to shape that up, because this is just weird.
So let me, real quick, I'm going to drop it. What's the name of the channel again? It's Fact Quickie.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of channels that Simon Whistler is the announcer for.
Yeah, if you want to drop it in the chat, you can. Yeah.
I am working on it.
All right. But I had
you guys can get all the details about backmasking. It's kind of a fun little look into and worth it. But,
yeah, check it out. I'll look at it myself, actually. Yeah.
There you go.
All right. So our first news story of the night is Halo campaign evolved, requires a download and an internet connection to play.
Exactly. Well, is anyone surprised?
I actually am, because when you buy the physical disc, that should be the end of the story. Let's read this. Yep. Nowadays, this is nothing out of the ordinary since many games use this method, but Halo campaign involved mandates a download to launch because they didn't have the game ready in time for the discs to be made. That's why that happens, in case you all are wondering. This requirement applies to both the digital edition, which makes sense, and the physical edition, because the game isn't on the disc. Does it play? X account confirms that the remake won't launch until a mandatory download is completed. This isn't simply a restriction to prevent spoilers before release, but rather an additional data that wasn't included on the disc. An internet connection is therefore required when launching the game for the first time. Worse still, an additional connection would be required through the game's own interface, which could mean that Halo Campaign Evolve would be completely unplayable without an internet connection even after downloading the required data.
Yep. And a lot of fans are getting really, really upset about this because, as I pointed out the other day, Microsoft went down completely, and people that use whatever Microsoft's cloud storage is couldn't access their files. A lot of companies couldn't do big parts of their business as a result. And I'm sitting here going, I'm sorry, when you put all your eggs in one basket and then hand that basket over to somebody who ain't you,
Yes.
then you're kind of at their mercy, aren't you? And same thing happened with what's the Microsoft game system?
The Xbox. We have an article for that too coming up. Yeah.
We'll get to that. Yeah, the Xbox goes down because Microsoft is down. Nobody could play any games at all.
So is the disc blank? It doesn't have all of the required information on the disc, because how it's supposed to work is you buy your game on a Blu-ray disc, then the information from the Blu-ray disc downloads onto your console from the disc. If there are any patches, it'll get those from the internet. But you should, even if you don't have an internet connection, just be able to download the data from the disc and just play it. But in addition to that, even if when you do all that and the disc has nothing in it, it should still operate as a key to let you play the game, whether or not you're connected to the internet or not. That should make a difference. And apparently it doesn't on the PlayStation 5 edition of the game, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because you own the disc. You have the physical disc. You shouldn't need an internet connection to play the game.
Yes, exactly.
And this has happened to me twice in my life when I had mandatory internet-connected DRM on a game, and it makes me furious. First time was on the PlayStation 3 of all consoles when I downloaded the Final Fight HD. There was a mandatory sign-in for that game, and I was like, this is a retro game. I was really angry at Capcom, and they didn't let anybody know about this beforehand. They should have been upfront with that. And I know, okay, what's the big deal, Boomer? You own a Final Fight and other collections, and that, yeah. But at the time, I was angry about it.
Yeah.
And then more recently, it was the Diablo 2 remastered, require you to sign into Bethesda each time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I bought the game. It was a digital, but I bought it. I own it. It's on my console. I should not have to sign in to play it. So that will be the last
right.
Diablo game I ever buy. That was my statement there. But, yes. Oh, thank you for the reminder again, Troy. But yeah, we'll get there.
Well, I'm going to put it on everyone's channel. I just pinned it on mine.
I got you. Well, yeah, check out my channel. So we'll get into the Microsoft down thing too, but Halo campaign devolves, LGBTQ plus Steam tag vanishes less than 24 hours after appearing on the store
this one
page.
Was funny. This one was so funny.
Well, this is more bizarre to me because this was from WWE Pro, but less than 24 hours after Halo campaign evolve sparked discussions for being labeled an LGBTQ plus game on Steam. The controversial user-defined tag has disappeared entirely. When players first noticed the designation shortly after the game's launch, LGBTQ+ was displayed as the game's most prominent user-defined tag alongside descriptors such as FPS, action, co-op, single-player, and shooter. So this means people on Steam place this tag on the game. Is that what it's saying?
Okay. I don't know.
No, I might be wrong on this. I thought I was reading this wrong because
I actually don't know how it works. So I thought this was how they posted their own game.
Oh no, this is
just like when you do a video and I don't do this as often as I should, but when you put up a video, you could put like hashtags,
yes,
so that people know that are looking for a particular topic or subject.
Like if they want to learn about this Halo game, they would look
right
for
exactly.
Halo. Yeah. LGBTQ plus. Here's what I don't understand. Now, the only content that I think would merit that is if they had like pride skins for your Halo officers in the multiplayer, which this game doesn't have. Because I know in the past they have offered that as a purchasable thing in the Halo game. You could display your pride as Master Chief, which again kind of goes against the aesthetic of the game. But what do I know? Someone was making a point that when Halo left Bungie, it kind of became a trash fire because when Bungie ran it, it's a very pro-military game. There's topics such as religion, because I think the alien force attacking the humans are religious fanatics of their own religion. If I don't know a lot about the lore, but that's always what I got, and I don't know. It's kind of a very pro-American, pro-military style game, even though I don't think it's necessarily America in the future. You could tell it's based on America, whatever the military is. But so yeah, it's just a little bizarre that they removed that tag, and So what could have happened? According to WD Pro, Valve's Steam tagging system is community-driven, allowing users to apply tags that they believe best describe a game. Developers also have access to Steamworks tools that allow them to remove tags they consider inaccurate. Exactly what happened remains unclear. One possibility is that Steam's community-driven weighting system simply elevated other tags over LGBTQ+. However, that explanation appears unlikely in this case. Less than 24 hours earlier, LGBTQ+ was the game's most prominent user-defined tag, and it has now disappeared, not only from the storefront, but from Steam's complete list of user-defined tags. We all know, okay, now I think I know what happened. I think people hate this remake, and I think they're basically slamming it with what has been considered a pejorative in the past for certain things that you think are uncool, right? That's what I think this is about. Or maybe not. I don't know. Or maybe.
Well, no. I'm not.
Maybe
I'm
the
not,
gay community loves this game, and they were trying to
exactly what I was going to get at. It's entirely possible that the blue-haired weirdos are saying, "Oh, let's make sure that we support," because there are some. Let's just say that there are some very woke-friendly elements to this game. Maybe not specifically LGBT type themes, but.
Tough women putting Master Chief down, who's like the greatest.
Not just tough, immortal. Immortal. The women can't be killed in this game, from what I understand.
Yes. Look.
Talk about girl boss to the extreme.
I don't know why this game exists, because we had the Halo Master Chief Collection a few years ago where they took the original games and you could play them with completely remastered HD graphics, and you could go back and forth between the new graphics and the old graphics. So there's already an HD remastered version of the original Halo, and this is, I guess, the remake.
But Boomer, this has this really great water physics that is so wonderful. It's worth paying extra money to rent this game.
They replaced a character in this game. It was a character who's based on one of the original engineers, and he was replaced them with a black man. Okay. The engineers of the game, yes. Who actually made the game back in the day. Well, they didn't work on this version.
Right.
They had a whole
maybe they replaced him. Maybe they replaced him with one of the DEI people that did this version.
And Cortana looks like a dude with a wig. I heard people have been angry about how they've messed up Cortana. She's an
not
AI,
just that.
yes.
She looks very, very strange, very uncanny in a way that she's not supposed to be, and in a way that kind of undermines the intent of what Cortana was meant to be. It was meant to be very, very much like the character of Joy in Blade Runner. The Blade Runner sequel, where you're supposed to kind of fall for her. You're supposed to really, really more human than human kind of concept.
I was thinking it was like Rami from Andromeda, but yeah, there's that too.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure there was.
She actually became physical after a while. So,
but this whole idea of exploring that element of AI and whatnot. If you decide to go real meta and make it look like an AI generated Uncanny Valley kind of thing, it's like, well, first you've done worse with something that you were supposed to make better. And then secondly, you completely misunderstand the whole point of the character.
Yeah. They misunderstood the whole point of the character, because after 343 Studios took over after Bungie left or were kicked out of this series, they made Cortana the villain in one of the games, which people were upset about. But
yeah.
Let's see. And apparently, if you see the little PlayStation sign up there, best I could do, because not a good look for Xbox, as Halo Campaign Evolved plays best on PlayStation. The clever clogs at Digital Foundry have released arguably one of the most awkward console comparisons in recent memory, putting Halo Campaign Evolved under some heat. When you hear about Halo, you think Xbox. You know why you think about Xbox when you think of Halo? This is like their Super Mario. This is their big console exclusive. And then when Phil Spencer and what's-her-name were running it, they said, we're going to bring out Halo on everything. We're going to bring it out on PlayStation. We're going to bring out our big exclusive series and put it on our competitor.
Yeah.
And not only that, but apparently it plays better. It looks better on the competitor. An Xbox Series X campaign evolved Officer's Choice between 30 frames per second quality mode or 60 frames per second performance mode. The base PlayStation 5 delivers a very experience overall, although it does have an edge with smoother cutscenes.
Yeah.
Why does it look better on the competition's system than your own console?
Gee,
Microsoft?
I wonder. What does that tell you?
Not that I'm a fan of PlayStation right now, so I just thought that was funny. Okay, let's move on. We're going to zip through a lot of these gaming things because it's not a lot. Oh, and here we go. The 16-hour Xbox outage. Was this also the Microsoft outage in general?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
While you fill them in, I'm going to step away for a second. I'll be right back.
That's fine. 16-hour Xbox outage even stopped physical games from working. Xbox Chief Technology Officer Scott Van Vliet said in a post on X that a licensing service sitting outside Xbox, which the platform depends on, began failing late on July 26, and it took roughly 16 hours to clear, blocking sign-ins, library listings, and game launches across Xbox 360, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. Microsoft restored the service at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on July 27th. For part of that window, Microsoft's status page warned that players may have trouble launching disc-based games, leaving a physical copy sitting in the tray no more useful than a digital one. Discs on Xbox One and Series consoles carry encrypted XVC packages with attached licenses rather than acting as bootable media, per Microsoft's documentation. Automated monitoring caught the failure overnight, and on-call engineers declared a major incident, according to Van Vliet, whose team rerouted traffic onto healthy systems while the root cause was still being investigated. Anything requiring an entitlement check broke, including listing a full library and launching an own game, and several of Microsoft's publishing and store partners depend on the same systems, which is why titles kept working and others didn't. I care less about the one-line root cause, Van Vliet wrote, saying that the review will look at why a failure in one service took down that much and why recovery took as long as it did. Microsoft hasn't explained why disc-based games were caught up in the failure, but its developer documentation splits loss of connectivity into two separate categories: complete loss of internet service and loss of one or more online services. Console behavior is built around the first case, where the system reads a game's manifest declaration and launches anything with a mode of play that doesn't require connectivity. The second case, where the network is fine but a specific service isn't answering, is documented only as something individual games should handle without hanging or crashing. During the July 2024 Xbox outage, players recovered access to installed single-player titles by forcing the console into an offline state through network settings. Aha! Yep. Okay, now this makes sense, because I couldn't figure this out, because at first I wanted to sound the alarms, what the heck is going on here, because I'm sorry, if I designate my Xbox as a primary console, and it doesn't matter if I have a disc game or a downloaded game, that game should play whether or not it is connected to the internet. However, the people couldn't play their games because they had the console set to being connected.
Yeah.
If they had set it to offline, the games would have played. Does that make any sense to you?
Well, it makes sense that is the default parameter. That's the default that Microsoft wants you to have. They want you online at all times. They want to be able to know you're playing the game and that is a legal copy of the game.
Okay, but again, I you know what? I know. I'm fine. Everything's fine. I mean,
you're like the dog in the pub that's on fire, right? It's fine. This is all fine.
Okay, so here it is. I'm not going to mince words. I know I will be in trouble if one day my Xbox One stops working and I can't get a replacement Xbox One that I can then connect to the internet and license onto my own username and play again. Then my library is useless. I know this, unless of course there's creative stuff you can do online, which we won't get into on this stream.
Right.
However, while I have that Xbox One and it's working fine, it should work, and it should work, and it works in offline mode. So that's why I was concerned, because I did this before. I tested this way back in the day. I said, I'm not connected to the internet. Can I play this game? Interestingly enough, Xbox allows you to make a satellite console if you have two consoles. And it is the biggest pain in the butt, because I had an Xbox One S, and because I wasn't sure if my Xbox One S got destroyed in the flood, a while later I got the higher end Xbox of that generation because I found it on eBay new for a reasonable price. I'm like, okay, I'll get this. And I said, I'll set up my Xbox One S as a satellite console, no problem. So what does it mean? I got to sign in once a month or whatever to play my digitally downloaded games. You have to be signed in at all times or your digital games will not work. Meaning you have to have an internet connection on them all the time. I found out later on my brother's Xbox died on him. I said, okay, I'm rebooting this one back to factory standard. Take my old Xbox One S because it's kind of useless as a satellite console if I have to be incessantly connected to the internet to play these games. It only lets you have one primary. I'm sure this isn't a problem with Steam. Anyway, okay. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. This outage.
Everything's fine.
There is no
Normal.
GTA 6. I'm going to be talking about that in a minute because GTA 6 is a testing point for people. I say money talks and bullcrap walks. If I'm being more polite on this stream, you got to speak with your wallets. And I'm saying that we'll get to that in a minute. In fact, maybe that's our next story. Let's go. By the way, you had to deal with this, right?
Well,
did?
no, I deal with it in that I became aware of it and was like, this isn't cool. So like I said, when the Microsoft outage happened, I was working on updating one of or setting up one of the streams. And I have a Word document that I use as a template for the description. And I was updating it and I went to save it. And it said, your document is saved locally, but due to no network, we couldn't update OneDrive. And I'm like, why the F is this trying to upload to OneDrive? I thought I had OneDrive shut off on my computer. I'm like, screw you, Microsoft. And then thought nothing of it. Just put it aside, and I'm like, I'll deal with this later. I wanted to finish what I was working on. Then I found out from Netter later on that what was the problem when you guys couldn't access Microsoft at work?
Oh, Microsoft was FUBAR for the day.
Yeah.
They actually had an incident happen on their end, and it just totally screwed up everything worldwide for anyone who uses Microsoft. It wasn't resolved for well over 24 hours.
Yep.
Right.
So that means Outlook, Microsoft, any other Microsoft products, Windows, Excel, PowerPoint, you name it, you could not really use it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So do you know what these are?
PS3 games.
Yes. Okay, good. You got it. Yes, PS3 games.
Well, only because I could see it at the top of some of the ones that are closer here.
That's good when they label what it is. I appreciate that. Yes, PlayStation 3 game prices are surging after PlayStation Store closure announcement. It may be a little early, but following the announcement that the PlayStation Store for PS3 and PS Vita will shut down, this was going to happen regardless. So I'm not actually yelling at Sony about this because Nintendo has shut down their stores way earlier than they did, but I knew this was going to happen. The prices of games for those systems appear to be rising sharply, with some titles seeing particularly dramatic increases. I don't think it's because of the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita store shutting down. I think it's because Sony has announced that they're not going to do physical media anymore. Now people are looking, what didn't I buy for these older consoles that I should have? But the main reason is easy to understand. Once Sony closed the official PlayStation Store, players will no longer be able to buy any of these games digitally, creating greater demand for the remaining physical copies. As previously mentioned, Sony plans to close the PlayStation Store and for PlayStation 3 and PS Vita in July 2027. The PlayStation Vita was their last portable game console they made, in case you're wondering what that was.
Yeah.
Okay. Without an official and always available digital store, the limited number of physical copies still available is likely to become much more valuable. Okay. As spotted by comicbook.com, some games have already seen their prices increase by as much as 4 times. Puppeteer, for example, has reported being listed for more than $200 on eBay, and in some cases, while Folklore has climbed well above 100. Do I own Folklore? I don't think I do, but I do own Puppeteer.
There you go.
I got Puppeteer because when I had the PlayStation 3, do you know what I said?
Hmm.
This is my last game console. No more game consoles. It's PS3 because I was angry at the industry's response to gamers complaining about corruption in games journalism. You may remember what that move was. I said, if you guys aren't going to support us, why am I giving you my money? And for a while,
Exactly.
I refused to buy another console. And of course, that broke because I ended up buying a PlayStation 3, an Xbox One, and a Nintendo Switch. But, you know... and here we are.
How you feeling about those decisions now?
To be here's what I'm gonna say. I have liked all 3 of those consoles more than the PlayStation 3. The PlayStation 3
Okay.
I never quite liked because I got all my boomer shooters and I got to play them on a console. And don't
There you
worry,
go.
as far as the Xbox library goes, I suspect my Xbox library may eventually just be turned into PC games at some point. With
There you go.
Microsoft wanting you to. It's funny because I was saying, you know, I really don't want to buy any more games on my Xbox because I can't send Microsoft, but I want Sin Reloaded and I have to purchase it on a powerful console. And then I looked at it. When you buy it, you get an Xbox copy, a regular Xbox One copy, an Xbox Series copy, and a PC copy of the game. So there you go. I'll get a PC copy as well, so you don't have to yell at me. Right? You know Sin? It was an old first-person shooter back in the day.
I don't remember.
It had the scantily clad woman on the cover. It got beat out because Halo came out. It's not Halo. Half-Life came out like 3 weeks later and demolished it. But I've always wanted to play Sin, and it was never on a console before. Just looking for ATX cases with B25 hard. I got to pay extra for those. Supply and demand. PS2 is the sweet spot. I love the PlayStation 2. I don't know why these games are going up so high, because I don't know how you can play these games without owning a PS3. Now, I'm sure at some point people are going to crack the code and you'll be able to play these maybe on a PC at some point, because people do that. But I'm just going to buy a PS5, get a games, and then the video game hobby there. I'm telling you, it's all falling apart, because they're not going to be any more physical games.
Yep.
Here we go. That's another thing people made a point about, that even David Jaffe, who I disagree with a lot of stuff, including in this argument, he did make a point that PS5 users have a reason to be angry because when they bought their console, it was under a reasonable understanding that they'd be able to get disc games on it in perpetuity.
What do you think about this, Boomer?
True. I'm just going to get a PS5, a few games, and end the video game hobby there. Well, you know, maybe buy one used. I'm sorry.
Or maybe get your, upgrade your PC and start getting games on PC instead.
Anyway, I'm not going to tell Jesse how to spend his money. And to be fair, I'm not even telling existing PlayStation 5 users. My main thing is, please do not buy Grand Theft Auto 6 until they announce a physical copy. A physical copy may happen. They may release it to get people who didn't buy it to do a double dip. Just don't buy that game $80 and it's all digital. Please don't do that. And don't buy a PlayStation 6. That's my 2 things right now. I'm not even yelling at PS5 users, because I'm sorry, 6 months ago, I did you hear me screaming about PlayStation months ago? I would scream about Nintendo and Microsoft, but Sony hadn't done anything yet.
Right.
Yes, but again, PS2 has a lot of games. There's still a lot of games I want to play. The problem is, how do you play those games? Because they're made for a standard definition television. And can you buy a standard definition television? Why do you think I got a PS3? I was happy with my GameCube and PS2. I had a huge libraries for both. And I realized something. They're useless when CRTs go under. You try hooking up
Okay,
old
I'm going to
game-
call BS on this one, Jesse. I do not have a PC, nor do I have the space for it. But you have space for another console. Just saying.
I will say this, Jesse. PS5 is very large. As far as consoles go.
You know what my game console is?
What?
It's watching Troy play Fallout 4 on his computer.
Yeah, I mean, she's not even playing it. She's watching me on the big screen playing it.
Just get a Steam Deck, Jesse.
Yeah.
It's a joke because the Steam Deck
Oh,
is horribly expensive.
Steam account is great. I've
Well,
got
Steam is good, yes.
yeah, it's like I had actually downloaded a game that another YouTuber is playing, and I'm doing it better than him. Uh, it's called what is it? Eggs. Wait, I got. It's
Well,
on
while
my
she's
desktop.
saying that, I'm going to say this about Steam. Yeah, it's still not physical media, but there are so many free and super cheap games that if they decide to take them away, I don't feel like I've
Yeah, this was
lost
called
anything or I've been rooked. Or anything.
Extreme Farming. Basically, you're raising chickens and you're raising ducks, and you have to collect the eggs and sell them to be able to buy more chickens and ducks and cartons to put the eggs in and all this sort of thing.
I mean, it's no goat simulator, but it's kind of a nod in that direction.
Yeah, and it's like, and I actually have the demo version, which I still haven't finished completing, and I've been playing it for a while.
Well,
And-
why is Gray able to do it in 20 minutes?
I
Cheats.
I own Goat Simulator for PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch because I have a problem.
Do
Because
you
it's
really?
cheap. Yes.
Wow!
Because it gets
No wonder you
cheap,
got
and then I
from-
end up buying it on all three.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I get you.
Well, that's the thing. I could argue that I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket because eventually all these consoles are probably going to die on me, but that's fine. Anyway.
See, I like where your head is on this. I want a big screen. I want surround sound. So, dude, invest in it.
You could.
It. And if you have to minimize other things, minimize other things. Plan your entertainment room around that. My PC can play my Blu-rays, my HD films, up on the HD LCD screen. I've got surround sound for it. So it takes the place of a DVD player, an HD player, a Blu-ray player, any consoles that I would otherwise have, a record player, a CD player. All of those things are basically my PC.
You and I are so different. It's okay. You like having the all-in-one, whereas I tend to separate all my stuff out, which is okay. I'm not judging. It's just,
Well,
like
and maybe you have the room for it. I don't think most people.
Of course,
do.
I don't have the room for it. Okay. No, like that's why I'm not yelling at you because I realize what you're saying makes more practical sense.
But,
I'm just saying,
and it makes more fiscal sense too because one HD drive can play your HD movies, your Blu-ray movies, your DVDs, your CDs, your programs, CD programs and whatnot.
you talk to the guy that bought a boombox.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Anyway, well, to be fair, boombox, you get something out of that though. It's an iconic. It was a nostalgia thing. That's the reason I got it.
and
it does work
if
with
you have
Bluetooth.
if you have the technical know-how, which I do not, Skeptic Tank says Raspberry Pi might be, up your alley. I have a buddy who's a programmer, and he talks about Raspberry Pis all the time, and how I talk about electronic things that I'd like to do, like in my dioramas and stuff, have a view screen, playing videos and stuff like that. He goes, "Oh, Raspberry Pi," and I'm like, "That's way more electronic knowledge than I have to be able to do that."
I will say this though, about the PlayStation 5, it has risen in price significantly than it was a few months ago. Like, I think it would have been an easier recommendation when it was more at like 600, when you could, or 500, and you could pick it up for a more reasonable price. But I need a room for my dream PC, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, maybe PlayStation 5 setup. Do you have a PlayStation 4, Jesse?
If you didn't have a PS2, 3, 4, and 5, maybe you would have room for that PC. Just saying.
There are certain things. Jesse, you want to pick up that Lollipop Chainsaw on PlayStation 5 because the newer version doesn't have the soundtrack. I love Lollipop Chainsaw. Anyway, let's talk about PlayStation. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here. Also, if you got a PlayStation 4, a lot of stuff still comes out for the PlayStation 4. In fact, that was the one thing they almost got me with the PlayStation 5 with, because every time I would get a PS4 game, they'd throw in the PS5 version. But let's see here, though. We have gamers plan a PlayStation blackout, but will it mean anything to Sony? Oh. Actually, let's do that first. Okay. No, that's this. Okay. Let me get into this a little bit here. If you've been on social media recently, you might have noticed a new initiative gaining traction. It's a planned action against Sony's recent decision to scrap physical games come January 2028, and it's manifesting in the form of hashtag PlayStation Blackout. From August 23rd to 30th, gamers everywhere are saying they'll down PlayStation tools and not switch on their consoles, play any games, or make PlayStation-related purchases for an entire week just to show Sony how seriously they are. So are y'all hearing this? They're trying to send Sony a message. Just turn off your console for 1 week.
And I'll tell you what, they don't give an F. We're going to prove that in real time right here.
They certainly will not give an F if people ignore this. Now, I hope this works, because if it doesn't work, we'll be in a worse position. Because now they're saying, because this is a kind of this is almost like a warning boycott. I want to say, right?
Right.
We can mobilize. PlayStation Network's infrastructure uses AWS as a backbone into power cloud components for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, typically relies on elements like elastic scaling, which adjusts load automatically based on traffic volume to ensure peak cost efficiency. So this would actually hurt them. Okay, that means if fewer people are using the PlayStation Network for a week, Sony Interactive will theoretically save money. We know this because last year Sony explained how it uses fully automatic cooler bytes. Well, if they're going to save money, then this would be anyway.
No, I do think it's that the value as people see it is getting a message across, being heard.
Yes.
I just don't think that matters to them. They don't care.
The next up is extremely chilling because Sony has finally responded to the outcry, which hasn't let up, and they have not spoken to us directly about it. And they still haven't. They spoke to their investors.
Yes.
Let me see here. So I'll get her name in a moment. But Sony finally responds to PlayStation players angry about PlayStation 5 physical discs ending. After weeks of silence, Sony has finally responded to PlayStation players angry about its decision to end PlayStation 5 physical disc production in 2028. During a recent investor meeting, a PlayStation executive said the company is moving forward with its plan despite complaints from players. Sony is not worried about physical collectors moving to PC. It's now been a month since Sony announced that it's ending physical media disc production for both PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 6 in 2028. Despite the controversial decision sparking massive backlash and calls for boycotts online, PlayStation remained silent for weeks and refused to acknowledge it. However, Sony finally broke its silence and responded to players at a recent investor meeting. During a July 31st Q&A session with shareholders, Sony CFO Lin Tao addressed the physical disc backlash. Her response: PlayStation is moving forward with its plan to end physical discs anyway and doesn't believe the backlash will impact sales. Sony stated so far that it has not seen any negative impact on sales following the announcement and does not expect this to change when it takes effect. The company believes the future is digital for virtually all forms of media. They reiterated that they will proceed cautiously with their plans. Sony CFO then said that PlayStation is still addressing how to address feedback from players who are unhappy with the decision. The company said it's still figuring out how to respond to the feedback. Maybe you should have figured out how to respond to the feedback before you made this initial announcement.
Yeah, and here's the thing, that answer is basically her saying F you, all you people that are buying PlayStation. That's what it really is. And my response to her is to paraphrase Tom Cruise, you should literally back up, bend over, and F your own face.
Well, yes. Another interesting takeaway from the investment meeting at Sony, it revealed why it decided to end the physical discs ahead of its PlayStation 6. Another response, Lin Tao explained that Sony wanted to give retailers time to prepare for its move toward a completely digital-only platform. They confirmed the announcement to end disc production was made to communicate with retailers. Sony's working with them to do codes and packages. This subject has already been around North American retailers, and now the same will happen in other regions. So you're going to get a code in a box. What I find more disturbing about her response to all this, though, she's just not talking about games. She's talking about all media.
Yep.
She's talking about
Yep.
Blu-ray movies and CDs and other forms of
So
audio.
for all of the people in Hollywood that are so concerned about the Warner Brothers Paramount merger, that it means a greater what's it called? Monopoly, greater monopoly on movie making and so forth, and less jobs and so forth. Well, what do you think about this kind of a monopoly, where companies are going to make sure that they absolutely control things and you don't buy? Oh, I forgot, you're all socialists, so you want us to not own anything and enjoy it.
When does this week of the PlayStation begin? August 23rd to August 30th. Mark your calendar, Jesse.
If you all were smarter, anyone that's actually participating in it, you would start now and end never.
Okay. I get you. I get what you're saying, Troy. My sympathy is with people where they built up a PlayStation 5 library and were unawares that this was going to happen. So it may take them a little while to wean themselves off, but I am just asking them to stop now, because there are still physical games coming out. Some of these are by third-party companies that might have been blindsided by this too. I don't necessarily want to punish them, but you're gonna have to make an exit from Sony at some point, though. So start planning for it, because they are going to destroy.
Yeah,
They're doing stuff to harm this hobby. But I'm not going to yell at you if you want to go out and buy Muramasa, because I'm getting that on the Switch. It's also coming out on PlayStation 5.
I'm just saying, start now, get yourself a gaming PC, and if there's something that you wanted on the PS5, is there a PC option? Do that instead.
Most games, unless they're like Sony exclusives, do get a PC option. Muramasa is coming to Steam as well.
There you go.
I'll be getting it on my Switch. Anyway, okay, moving right along and feeling fancy-free.
This is hysterical. This is hysterical. I mean, talk about sit down, take off your shoes, and put both feet in your mouth. This is brilliant.
Sony finally responds to PlayStation players angry about PlayStation 5 physical discs ending. After weeks of silence, Sony has finally responded to PlayStation players angry about its decision to end PlayStation 5 physical disc production in 2028. During a recent investor meeting, a PlayStation executive said that the company is moving forward with its plan. Despite complaints from players, Sony is also not worried about physical collectors moving to PC. It's now been a month since Sony announced it's ending physical disc production for both PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 6 in 2028. Despite the controversial... Yeah, we already know about this. But during a July 31st... I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong article. I apologize. Okay. Sorry. Tone-deaf Sony pushes vinyl turntable after killing physical games. Sony's decision to cease manufacture of game discs in January 2020 has led to a substantial and ongoing backlash. Every time the company posts something on social media, it gets dragged through the mud, even when the news has absolutely nothing to do with physical releases. But sometimes the damage is completely self-inflicted. Case in point, Sony went ahead and posted about its new turntable last night. At a glance, that's nothing too crazy. The firm has to advertise its products after all, but on the X, formerly Twitter, update is drawing serious ire because of how it's framed. Rediscover the warmth, detail, and ritual of vinyl with the LX3 turntable. Drop the needle, press play, and enjoy the music the way it was meant to be heard. Reads the frankly tone-deaf marketing. Yeah, don't people have the warmth, detail, and the ritual of putting in a game disc into their game console?
Right.
Indeed, it's not the kind of statement you want to be making when your company is already being slaughtered for abandoning physical media in a different field of entertainment. The timing is just so poor. Naturally, the post has been met with a tidal wave of criticism as thousands of replies attempted to point out the hypocrisy. People are still furious, so...
Yeah.
There you go. Sony still believes in physical media. Why? I have a question. Why vinyl? And vinyl is okay, and everything else needs to go.
Because they don't see it as being a challenge to, well, do they have a distinct interest in, do they own music licenses, and are they a music company?
But they also own movie studios. And Sony, Sony created the Blu-ray format, or they were big investors in it, and also DVD. Like, they made money even when they weren't the ones putting out the discs.
This is the same stupidity as the movie companies deciding to go with streaming services. they're killing a whole bunch of potential revenue sources just for control of their IPs.
Hold on a second. This is good. I wonder why Sony is so hell-bent to end the disc format. Is it because there's too much data in the games that won't fit on the disc format? I didn't realize that. Now, in the past, what they would do is they would give you multiple discs.
Yeah. Just make it multiple discs.
But that's a good point. I didn't think about that. You know, I wanted to make a point that when I got my PlayStation 4, I had installed a 2 terabyte drive on the inside because it came with a 1 terabyte, and I'm like, I don't need 1 terabyte. And good news is Sony back then, at least with the PlayStation 4, they would let you alter your own insides of the consoles.
Right.
But when I was doing some downloads of games that I got on sale, I think I downloaded one of the Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy 15, and I was already running out of room. And I'm like, how large are these games? I had a 1 terabyte in the PS3, and it never got full. But now all of a sudden, it's because don't forget, when you put a disc in, it also downloads the game onto the hard drive too from the disc. So
right,
very little is kept.
So
yeah.
The real reason initially was they were doing this because you have engineers that are not ready to go live, so they have to hit their deadlines. They release an unfinished game, forcing you to download the rest of the game with all the patches and fixes later on, and then they keep monkeying with it and messing with it over time. So there's more patches and more patches and more patches. There is no concept of a single game that is done, that does not need to be patched before it goes live. And unfortunately, all of you have made it possible for them to be that sloppy and lazy.
Yes. Oh, Geek Flag, she's the CFO, not the CEO. She was born in Shanghai, China, though. I thought that was interesting. She's working for a
So she's also a commie.
Well, I did not. Anyway.
Literally, that's what she's doing. She's pushing a communist plan on this company. We will own the thing. You will not. You will own nothing and be happy. She's a commie.
Horrible future we're painting here. I'm like I said, I look at it this way. I'm pretty close to having all the games I need from the modern consoles, and I'm just gonna sit. And when I want to buy a game, I got my Evercade. Nobody knows what the Evercade is. I'm gonna have to talk about it on Friday.
Okay.
They make physical media. The whole point of Evercade is physical forever. It's a retro game console where you buy cartridges for it of various games from across things. We got some Marvel news, though, huh? Anything left to say about games?
No.
Okay. You're sitting pretty with your Steam right now, because...
I kind of am, yeah.
Okay. Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah.
Hall H revolt at Comic-Con. No one is getting into the Marvel panel. Did you hear about this?
I did. Well, I did because you sent me this article.
Oh, that's right. Hours before hours before Marvel Studios takes the stage, Hall H has turned into a meltdown. Fans on social media are reporting that Hall H hit capacity early Saturday with long-time line waiters, including some who camped out overnight for days, being turned away despite holding Comic-Con's official first seating wristbands. The complaints piling up on X include claims of line cutters and people without wristbands getting inside while wristband holders were shut out. Security refusing to let people in the Hall H line leave to use restrooms, and concessions inside the hall closing for long stretches. These are fan reports, and Comic-Con has not issued a statement, but the volume of complaints is hard to miss.
Mm-hmm.
Stories now jump from fan complaints to press coverage. Film Threat founder Chris Gore called the situation a debacle, flatly posting that no one is getting into the Marvel panel. Film Threat also has video from the scene framing what's happening outside the hall as a full-on line revolt over the Marvel panel.
Yep.
Never change, Disney. We haven't talked about Marvel in a while, have we? This is a
No, we haven't. There hasn't been much to talk about, except for a certain wall crawler recently, but that's not even Disney.
No, that's Sony, and I don't like how they're handling PlayStation, but their movie side of things, I think they tend to handle a little better than the Marvel Studios proper.
Right.
Even though they're still friendly with Marvel Studios because the characters bounce back and forth between the two movies,
Right.
obviously. But adding fuel to the fire, reports out of San Diego claim hundreds of Hall H seats, 397 by one count, are being held for Marvel VIP guests. Those numbers remain unconfirmed, but for fans standing outside with official wristbands after camping for days, this lands like a slap. This is from I think this is from X, but I will be seated for the Marvel Studios H panel soon. There are two full tents of fans waiting to hopefully get in. People have been lining up since late Thursday to early Friday for this panel, apparently. Another response was, people are pissed. Comic-Con messed up again for Hall H wristband guarantee. 2 days of my life lost, and the staff's tight-lipped, cyclical responses and accusations of people not being in line on time are a complete lie. Does this sound familiar as far as cons go?
That's friggin' gaslighting. Don't tell someone who's been in line for overnight that they weren't in line on time. Bull crap. I was here 12 hours early.
Yes. Age Moore, is there a picture of the Avengers Doomsday Cinemark popcorn box? What is that? Is it Dr. Doom's head and his mouth opens up and the popcorn spills out or something like that?
That's actually not quite as bizarre as some of the things I've seen recently. Just, oh gosh.
They should do it for a zombie movie and you get a zombie head and you can eat the brains like popcorn's the brains or something.
That's actually kind of brilliant.
I would kind of like that. That would be kind of fun. Hall H crowd chaos around big Marvel H panels. Nothing new, but Saturday's situation lands differently. Given the stakes, it's Marvel's first Hall H appearance since 2024 Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom reveal. So 2 years. In other words, fans are getting turned away and are missing out what could be the biggest panel of the entire convention after doing everything Comic-Con system asked of them.
Yep.
So what's the story here? Don't trust the cons?
Well, I've been saying for the longest time, cons are run so bass-ackwards. Effectively, yes, you're absolutely right. But, this is just a cluster F, and they freaking deserve all the ire that they get.
Wonder Man not returning for season 2 at Disney+.
Oh, that's just terrible. That's just, well, anyway.
Part of me is wondering if Wonder Man might be like the one of these Disney Plus shows that might have been any good, because look at that picture. Do you see who's to the right?
I have no idea who.
That's Ben Kingsley.
Is it really?
I think that's his character from Iron Man 3. If all it is about Wonder Man, like maybe not the most well-known superhero being stuck on a road trip with the Ben Kingsley character from Iron Man 3, that might actually, I mean, if it's a comedy, that might work. I don't know. That might be kind of funny, but it's not coming back, so never mind.
I don't know if this covers it or if we have another one coming up that covers it. But there was a great deal of backlash about what was getting canceled. It's not just Wonder Man.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, and this comes on the back of Ryan Gosling being announced as... was it Ghost Rider or something like that?
Yes.
This is not a coincidence. You're right. It's not a coincidence. All the failed DEI, nobody asked for, nobody wanted shows and concepts are going away. You should not be shocked by this.
But I don't know though. Wonder Man, I guess, was a comedy. Is that right?
I guess. But if you were a Wonder Man, the character, fan, that's not so great either, because he was not meant to have been a comical character.
Oh, I see.
Although his introduction, why he was introduced, the behind the scenes for why there is even a Wonder Man character in Marvel is a little bit humorous. They introduced Wonder Man so that DC Comics couldn't have a male analog to Wonder Woman in their own, branding. It's the same thing as the Captain Marvel fights and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Oh, this interesting. The characters will be featured in the series, could appear in other Marvel projects in the future, though. So hold out hope.
Yeah. Just like we're going to see Kamala Khan in everything going forward. And oh, wait, I guess we're not going to be seeing Riri Williams a whole lot anymore because she just got canceled too.
No one watched Wonder Man. I don't know that anybody has watched any of these. I mean,
that's the other point. It's like I've been saying all along. They decided to put all this crap behind a paywall. Nobody really wants to pay for this crap, so nobody's watching it. Even the people that have the services aren't bothering with it. They didn't care. They didn't ask for this stuff.
Ahoy, Roman of the Empire. Welcome.
Roman, good to see you. So glad you are here.
I did like the lead actor's statement of the cancellation. Showed a lot of class. I'm sure he's great. I hope he shows up in other projects. Okay, and like I said, this might be funny. I'll say this. That looks funny. Ben Kingsley, like it's like a road trip disaster. I don't know. Just put him and Ben Kingsley in a different movie. Not really the superheroes. I might check it out. Yeah. I don't know. Kamala Khan, actress, was great. I wish they'd written her character better. Well, she showed a lot of class in her outside too. Like she was yelling at Kevin Feige for some of the. Yeah. I mean, she was not being nasty like other characters, but she was saying, you know, I got the impression she knew about Marvel lore than he did from what she was saying.
Yeah, and I'll do even one better than that. I think that the existence of that character was bad. I think that the actress playing Kamala Khan could have been better in a different character.
Sure.
One that people might have actually liked. But that character was a non-starter to begin with. She was not liked in the comics, so she's not going to be liked in the movies anymore. Same was true with Riri Williams, by the way.
Yeah. Disney Marvel TV was in slow decline, but it was all bad, some very, very bad. Well, you would watch WandaVision. I think that was your only one you watched, right?
Until I got to the end and I realized she's a friggin' supervillain, and everyone's hailing her as some sort of a hero. What the hell is this?
She's a full-on villain in that Doctor Strange movie I didn't see, but yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, the big news was Ryan Gosling entering the Marvel Cinematic Universe on a motorbike in flames, wearing a leather jacket. What could go wrong?
This could be great. This actually could be great. But I don't have that much faith in Disney to do something good, even when they start out with a good premise.
You know what's the irony, right? Eva Mendes is his wife in real life, but she was the love interest in the original Ghost Rider movie.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, he's married to for Nicolas Cage. I love the Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider movies.
You know what would be interesting?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know how they're going to try to reconcile this with the Ghost Rider from S.H.I.E.L.D., or if you're just supposed to forget that S.H.I.E.L.D. ever existed.
It's complicated.
I would love it if he is just the same character that Nicolas Cage played. They maintain the continuity of that. And he hasn't aged because he's, whatever, supernatural or whatever. But Eva Mendes has.
Interesting.
Wouldn't
they just bring her back. Okay.
Absolutely.
Idea, yeah. But I don't know. This could be good. Ryan Gosling good in most things.
True.
There is Ghost Rider. Okay, so they say they haven't messed anything up. Thor's a nurse god. Go and watch a film featuring these characters. You know exactly what you're going to get. But there's Ghost Rider. Will be the subject of the new Marvel Cinematic movie directed by Deadpool and Wolverine Sean Levy and stars Ryan Gosling. There's no quick way to explain what is going on with this guy. In the 1972 origin story, stunt motorcyclist Johnny Blaze sells his soul to Satan to save his adopted father from cancer. The cure works, but its beneficiary is killed almost immediately. That happened in the Nick Cage movie, remember? Then he dies in like a car accident or something. Right. And I think Peter Fonda was playing the devil, which I think was a reference to Race with the Devil, which was a Peter Fonda movie where I think that's why they had him playing. And I love Spirit of Vengeance. I'm sorry. Troy, I'm just happy Disney is getting involved with making a Godzilla movie. I'll give them time. I guess that's Warner Brothers cash cow right now. So that's
true. You got a good point there.
Ryan Gosling has a couple of interesting things. Starfighter and Ghost Rider, I doubt either will fit properly in either of the specific universe. Well, Ghost Rider could work. I don't have high hopes for Starfighter, but we'll see. You never know.
Yeah.
So, what does Gosling, one of the biggest movie stars in the world right now, see in the role? Reports suggest that this was not simply a case of Marvel waving a blank check in his direction. Gosling has wanted to play Ghost Rider for years, and apparently has approached Marvel President Kevin Feige with his own conception of the character inspired by specific comic book runs. At this point in his career, the star of Project Hail Mary, Barbie, and Blade Runner 2049 could presumably have asked to play almost anyone in the Marvel Universe. He chose the infernal Evil Knievel, whose face catches fire. Okay.
Kind of. That's exactly
cool.
right. Yeah.
Well, they already replaced Punisher a while ago, and I always kind of saw the Punisher movies and Ghost Rider as sort of the, I don't want to be unkind, but like the B Marvel movies, you know, like. In fact, I think the later Punisher and Ghost Rider movies were under the Marvel Knights moniker, which they got rid of after Disney bought all of Marvel.
Right.
They were starting a new line called Marvel Knights, which, you know, was, I guess, supposed to be the darker Marvel movies, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Easy Rider. Yes, Lynn Green. Yes, that's another reason they had him on the bike, and I forgot about that. Yes, for Peter Fonda. So you're hopeful for this. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, but you know, I think that we've already talked about a lot of things that Disney's doing, getting rid of obviously a bunch of things that nobody liked. We don't know what is ultimately going to happen with Doomsday, what kind of impact it's going to have on their universe going forward. There could be a kind of reset happening here that could be positive, but I'm not holding my breath. That's for sure.
Troy's wondering if we get a season 2 of Spider-Noir, if we're going to see Joe Fixit, aka Gangster Hulk, or Daredevil. Here's the thing, it's whatever, I think it's whatever Sony owns on their end of the Spider-Man license. Do you understand? For instance, I don't think they could call the Ben Reilly character Cage calls him. I think in the comics he was Peter Parker. Right? But they had to give him a different name because they can't use the word Peter Parker on their end. They could use it in the Tom Holland movies because it's still Marvel Universe adjacent. So it just depends on what they have access to. They made it work, though. They were clever in what they did in that series. So, yeah. Moving on to Netflix sued after unreleased Nicolas Cage World War II movie allegedly stolen from Office.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
New lawsuit claims Netflix did not safeguard an as of yet unreleased Nicolas Cage World War II movie, which allegedly was just sitting around on a hard drive until somebody stole it. Is this Captain Corelli's revenge?
That could be.
Or Captain Corelli's mandolin, or Ghost Talkers too. I'm trying to think of other World War II Nick Cage movies, but that may read like a Hollywood elevator pitch for a movie that would likely star Cage, but it's the gist of a very real 16-page complaint filed with the Federal Trial Court of California. That could be a movie. Just have Nick Cage play himself when somebody stole his movie, and he has to get it back, right?
Oh my gosh, that would be
because he's a producer
brilliant.
on it, so he could get sued
Especially
as well.
after this situation, it kind of almost writes itself.
A British company called Op Fortitude, which is run by a Swiss citizen named Simon Afrem, claims to have spent more than $45 million making the movie, titled Fortitude, which has been shopped around. The movie, which the lawsuit claims is tonally in the vein of Ocean's 11 meets Inglourious Bastards, stars Cage as Dusko Popov, a real-life spy who may have inspired the James Bond character. What?
There's a number
now I
of
want to
people
watch this movie.
There is a number of people that inspired James Bond. Obviously, Ian Fleming himself, Christopher Lee to a certain extent.
That was his pick to play Bond. Did you know
right,
that?
Because of his actual experience in World War II. So.
That's interesting. Though Ian Fleming is going to show up in this movie as a character probably, right?
Oh yeah, exactly.
The secret mission called Operation Fortitude involves a network of double agents in cooperation with the British Army and allied nations who set a trap for Adolf H. and his army, the complaint contends. The trap deployed strategic deception elements, including a fictitious army complete with fake tanks, aircraft, and ships. Oh, I want to see this. I heard about this.
Right?
Oh yeah, no, I heard all about this. This really happened. Yeah, film set designers and stage actors, false radio wireless messages, and much more. Operation Fortitude decisively changed the course of World War II and paved the way for a free world. I was watching the movie Pressure last night. Have you heard of that? It was the one with Oh, I always forget a person's name when I want to say it. Guy who played O'Connor and Christian Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser plays Dwight Eisenhower in this movie. It's a World War II movie called Pressure, and it's about them having to plan the D-Day invasion, and it all boils down to weather forecasts.
Wow,
And it's
yeah.
all about the weather, the weather scientists trying to do their best to predict, and they're arguing. And it's a great little World War II movie.
Yeah.
It's historical. I recommend it if you haven't seen it. It just came out in theaters this summer, and it was on
I'll have to
Peacock
look into it
recently.
because that does definitely sound like the kind of thing I'd be into. Yeah.
I think he's really good as Eisenhower too, Brendan Fraser. So yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah, it shows how the Americans and the British were having to coordinate efforts, obviously for D-Day, obviously too. Yeah, but and then but I bring it up because in the movie they were talking about the deception, trying to make the Germans think that they were going to be that they were planning stuff elsewhere in the world with a bunch of fake tanks. You know, like inflatable tanks and stuff that look from aircraft. They look real. Yes.
Yeah.
So, this is like, okay, I'm going off on a tangent. Sorry, because this is not. I'm not. The movie sounds good. That's what I want to say. But the plaintiffs want far more than the cost of the hard drive. Though they contend the film stood to break even with calculated 2.5 times the production costs, or 112.5 million. Film's value depended in significant part and is exclusively as an unreleased first to market work. But okay, I'm reading about the movie. What happened? Did it get leaked online?
No, it sounds.
Oh, they don't have the movie.
They don't have it. It doesn't exist anymore, as far as anyone knows.
Gee, maybe they should have had it on some extra physical media than just on a hard drive.
You
Oh
think?
my word! I've heard of this in the past of like film reels getting stolen. This happened with another movie years ago. By losing control of the film, Netflix destroyed that exclusive materially, if not completely impaired the film's marketability. Oh no, they don't have it back.
Nope.
It could end up on YouTube tomorrow with commercials. Someone's making money off that ad revenue. I just, oh no.
Yeah.
So the company has not seen any evidence that some part of the film Fortitude is linked. Lingering question is, can Nick Cage play a convincing lawyer? Oh, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
This includes conducting spokesman. We have declined to share anything about our ongoing investigation to the law firm representing Simon Afram, given the hostile attempts to extort money from Netflix over the situation, including immediately demanding $165 million for the film rather than work with us in good faith. So Netflix is saying, we're trying to get it back.
Yeah.
Or find out what happened to it. Stop shaking us down for money. Is that basically what I got there?
I mean, yeah, I understand why they would say that. What other defense are you going to throw out? But it's like, I don't care. You are responsible. Make restitution.
Yes. Agent Boomer Nicolas Cage came out in Indianapolis, a movie based on the sinking of battleship USS Indianapolis for that transported 3 atomic bombs, which led to the worst U.S. Navy disaster. Okay, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that one?
No, I know the event he's referring to.
Okay. Good and bad news. Do you want the good news first?
I've got a follow-up on here. I didn't mention this to you, but okay. I don't think there is any bad news.
Okay, so the good news is Accident returns after 12 years, and the bad news is Paramount removed it. Okay, but maybe there's some good news.
The good news is that it's still available to anyone that was a backer. Again, you want to own your own physical media. I've already downloaded it. I have it. I still have access to download it as much as I want.
I'm sure it's leagues above.
I saw it go back up on YouTube as well. Okay. And go ahead. Why don't you just tell them, and then I'll give the follow-up.
Sure. Well, I did want to bring up that you've mentioned Axanar on this channel before.
Sure.
So it's been around a decade since we last reported on Star Trek Axanar, the controversial fan film project that turned into a legal battle. In the 9 years since the lawsuit with CBS and Paramount was settled, the Axanar project has been rethought to fit within the new guidelines, and at long last, the first of two and only two new releases debuted on Sunday at an event outside of San Diego Comic-Con. It also is available to stream for free online. The era of early 2000s and into the 2010s was a bit of a golden age for Star Trek fan films, led by Star Trek New Voyages, which started bringing, of course, big-name talent, eventually turning their meticulous sets into Star Trek The Original Series set tour. Star Trek Axanar, later just Axanar, was started by fan and collector Alec Peters in 2013, the business owner and founder of PropWorks, who did some official work selling Star Trek memorabilia for CBS, decided he wanted to join in the Star Trek tradition of fans making their own adventures. Fascinated with the character of Garth of Izar from the original series episode Whom Gods Destroy, Peters wanted to tell the story of the Battle of Axanar. The film he envisioned would put this battle as part of the war with the Klingon Empire, with Peters taking on the role of the younger Captain Garth. He decided he wanted to create something at a professional level that included a professional cast with an aggressive crowdfunding campaign to pay for it all, eventually bringing in over 1.2 million, all of which got the attention of lawyers for CBS and Paramount. The Axanar project debuted in 2014 with the release of Prelude to Axanar, short fan film in an in-universe documentary style. I saw that. That was intended to set up the story of the movie. The cast included Richard Hatch from the original Battlestar Galactica, Kate Vernon from Galactica Reboot, as well as Star Trek vets Tony Todd and J.G.
Hertzler. Yeah.
Hertzler in new Starfleet roles, and Gary Graham reprising his Star Trek Enterprise Roan of Saval. The film made a big splash, garnering over 6 million views in the last decade. After the lawsuit was settled and with release of new guidelines in 2016, plans for Axanar were rethought. Peters pivoted the feature film idea in two shorter releases styled like Prelude, as if they were additional chapters in the same documentary series. Most of the cast from Prelude returned, along with some new faces, including Farron Tahir reprising his role as Captain Robau from the 2009 Star Trek movie, and Tony Amendola of Stargate fame. The filming of the two new chapters took several years, with a variety of short production windows. The Gathering Storm is the first of two of these new documentary styles releases from Axanar. You can watch it below with a short introductory by Peters, but unfortunately there was an update where the Axanar release has been removed from YouTube with the following message: it was removed following a copyright removal request by Paramount Pictures Corporation and CBS Studios. So apparently they feel The Gathering Storm did not meet the criteria of the fan film guidelines. It is unclear how Axanar will follow up, but apparently you have a follow-up to this?
Yeah, so as of yesterday, well, no, I was kind of out of the loop all day yesterday, but as of Friday, it was back up on YouTube.
Okay.
With a note at the beginning from Peters saying, look, go ahead, watch this, download it, share it out. This is the movie that Paramount doesn't want you to see. Whatever. I don't know if it's still up today. But what I am saying is it's very, very, very much available,
Yes.
And as Lynn Green said, if Peters challenges, it could be back up. It already was. I know he is fighting it. It's just a constant fight. It's
okay.
Even when Paramount doesn't think they even have a case, they're still gonna do whatever they can to stick their thumbs in his eyes. I'm not going to say it's unjustified. There was a time when I would have, really gone to bat for, the rights of fans and so forth. But sometimes I'm not going to say anything about Peters. Alex, has made some missteps, is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
And but his ultimate work, standing on its own, Axanar, is really, really good work. You can say what you want about how he's gone about things and his work with props works and stuff like that. But the actual footage from Axanar and the story that was created here is, let's just say it's better Trek than anything we've gotten under JJ and Kurtzman.
I can believe that. And what I've seen,
Which isn't, yeah, it's not really a high bar, is it?
No, but what I've seen was impressed with. It was
Yeah.
especially with how they detailed how the war, the Klingon war, which I've always been fascinated by, because we never.
Well, and here's another thing that could have been, and I would argue was a misstep. He's taking his story, or not his story. He obviously wrote the story himself, or had other people working out, whatever. But the inspiration for the broad strokes of the skeleton of this story comes from the role playing game done by FASA and Starfleet Battles. Which is non-canon and a completely separate entity from Paramount, CBS, and so forth. So that you're getting into a rights problem right there.
Because other people own the rights to that. I gotcha.
But as far as I know, they haven't waded into this. I don't think that's really played into it. But I'm like, that's a bad step to begin with. But overall, I'm going to put it this way: the story implied by Prelude to Axanar and Gathering Storm and all the stuff around it gives you a better Federation Klingon war than what we got from Discovery. That was bullcrap. I would take the whole Discovery thing, throw it out, and in my mind, Axanar is the canon.
So disappointed with how that played out. Don't even get me started.
Yep.
That'll be another time. Because the Klingons, I've always been fascinated by the Klingons in the original series. And you get to know them better on TNG, oddly enough, even though they're allies of the Federation at that point. You get to find out the inner workings of their society and everything.
You get to learn a lot about their history. I mean, sometimes very ancient history.
Yeah.
You know.
Cool stuff. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this. Cracker Barrel, this logo.
This is the exact example that I was talking about at the beginning of the show. Sometimes things work out the way they should, and you go, well, Schadenfreude.
We try to end on a positive note. Cracker Barrel president and CEO Julie Fels Messino is finally stepping down less than 1 year after a disastrous attempt to modernize the beloved restaurant chain triggered a nationwide customer revolt. Cracker Barrel announced on Monday that Messino will leave the position August 10th. She will be replaced by former Bloomin' brand CEO David Dino, who previously oversaw the parent company of Outback Steakhouse, Carrabba's Italian Grill, Bonefish Grill, and Fleming's Prime Steakhouse. I was a little annoyed. This is not in this article, though. This is from WW Pro, but I was a little upset that she got a $4.6 million golden parachute. Why?
Yeah, and well, I can answer probably
She hasn't even
why.
been there that long.
No. She may have had a contract that it's the same thing that happens when a lot of people that have been with a company get let go, but they've accrued certain benefits over time or whatever. And it's like, okay, fine, we got to pay all those out. Or even if it's just for the year or whatever, the unused vacation time, so on and so forth, and other benefits. You get a severance and we'll let you go. So what you refer to as a golden parachute for some of these very high-level executives, it's no different from a severance pay for most employees.
Yes.
It just seems like a lot because we're dealing with large numbers to begin with.
They have good chicken and fries. Cracker Barrel fries are very underrated. If you get them in the restaurant when they're fresh, they're actually very good. They got a hint of garlic in them. Very nice.
I have only a very recent experience with Cracker Barrel. It was not the best of experience, although I will say their response to our complaints was very positive. The manager clearly cared about customer service, but he really needs to retrain his people.
It's a
Let's just
start.
put it that way.
I've had a couple bad experiences too.
On the individual store level, the problem was he needs to educate his people in cleanliness, and if they don't get it taken care of soon, I'm sure that they are going to have issues when they get an inspection. That being said, there is a bigger corporate problem that I saw when I was there. trying to go online and see a menu for Cracker Barrel before you get there, what is out there publicly does not match the reality. We found things that my wife wanted, that my aunt wanted, that my mom wanted, that were not available any longer. But they in every way that we could see online, they should have been.
They have to fix their whole online system. It's kind of a shambles. Yes, they need to fix that. It's been like that for a couple of years now too. They got to fix it. Maybe with this new CEO, they will.
Yeah, here's hoping. Maybe start focusing on things that are actual problems that need to be fixed instead of let's try to commify this as much as possible.
But doesn't everybody want to be Microsoft? I'm kidding.
Well,
all right.
Good point there.
I know that Deleted Scenes isn't on tonight after the stream, but you will be in an hour.
I will. In about, an hour and a half is part 2 of the Doctor Who serial Web Planet. So I hope you can join us.
I got a thing.
What do you got to think?
Well, y'all know Troy and I are married.
Yes.
And we've been married a long time.
Yes, we have. How long have we been married, Netter?
Monday, August 3rd, will be our 34th wedding anniversary.
Yep. Yes. Thank you very much.
So I hope y'all will celebrate with us in one way or another. That's a milestone that not everyone reaches. So I'm really happy with that.
True indeed.
Yes. Sounds great. Okay.
Yeah, so that is what's going on tonight. Tomorrow, Liquid Lunch at noon. I'll get you guys caught up on what happened to me the last part of last week and this weekend, and what's going on with me for those that are concerned or interested and care.
Okay.
Wait a minute, I got to get back to this. Lynn Green says FASA counts as abandonware. Kind of does.
Basically, yeah.
It is in a similar way that the Star Wars EU, was kind of abandoned, but then they take things here and there. Paramount has done the same thing by recanonizing the whole idea of a genetic manipulation that resulted in why Klingons didn't have ridges and so forth, to just some other elements, minor elements. Even some ship designs have been co-opted, so to speak.
I used to have those FAFSA, whatever books back in the day. I had the Romulan expansion.
Yep. And for the longest time, that was all the information that people... The fleshing out of the Romulans and the Klingons there was almost none after the original series. So the role-playing game made stuff up, and they made stuff up about the Gorns and the Tholians. The stuff they made up about the Tholians was completely trashed by actual canon come the time of Enterprise. Yeah. So anyway, I'll have to talk about that.
That may be a good old days coming up. We'll have to talk about Phasia.
I think the fans usually pronounce it FASA, but it is an acronym, so it's really open.
Well, I was a kid, and we didn't have internet back then. Okay.
Well, good point.
Or at least not access to the public. All right. So y'all have a good week. Be sure to tune in to all of our shows this week. We're gonna have some good stuff going on. And I know you all have Monday movies tomorrow night, right? Are you planning on?
Oh yeah, members on my channel, we will be watching a movie starring Robert Downey Jr. and the recently departed Sam Neill called Restoration.
Oh, yeah.
I believe everyone that tunes in is going to enjoy that.
I remember.
It's absolutely one of my favorite films.
All right. Anything left to say, Netter or Troy?
Well, stay tuned for the next episode of Doctor Who, which Troy said will be in an hour and a half?
An hour and a half.
Okay, all right. The Web Planet.
Yep.
Yes.
So the Doctor and his companions find themselves in a sticky situation.
Yes, kind of literally. It is implied that that's why they end up on the planet in the first place.
Oh, the TARDIS gets stuck.
Kind of gets stuck and pulled in. and it's still a bit of a mystery what happened, how they got there, and yeah, but they're kind of stuck there is actually a great way of putting it.
That's what I love about
I think
Doctor
y'all
Who.
are Osmo.
Yep.
Oh, thank you. We think you're Ozma. Oh, Shiba Dog. We got to do the Shiba Dog. Then we're
Do
going
you
to
want me to? I can.
Do it,
I
and then
can.
we'll call it night. Yes.
All right.
Shimmy left, shimmy right, Farty Fock is dancing tonight. Hearts go popping out his bum, wiggle, wiggle, here they come. Come. Cute as can be with a fluffy tail sway, spreading love in the silliest way. Farty Fox, you're the best. Boop, 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 you're simply the cutest mess.
Thank you, Lady
Artie
Miss.
Fox makes everything better.
It kind of does, doesn't it?
Yes. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night, and I guess we'll play the outro. Let's do it.
Go for it.